Hello students, welcome back for the class. So this being your third class on OPAM. So let us see the topic characteristics of OPAM. So let me remind you this is one of the very important basic question. So all of you concentrate here. So in characteristics you have to learn about various OPAM parameters. Okay. So we have got a few parameters here. So we'll see one by one. So let us see the first one, common mode rejection ratio, in short known as CMRR. Here, before understanding what is common mode rejection ratio, you should know what is common mode input here. Okay, just see the first sentence. Connecting both terminals to the same input terminals is known as common mode input. If you choose a particular op amp, you know that for a op amp there are two input terminals, that is inverting terminal and non-inverting terminal, right? Inverting terminal and non-inverting terminal. If we apply same input for both this terminal, what will be the difference? The difference should be zero, right? So in that, in such case, when the same input is applied for both the input terminals, then we call it as common mode input. Common mode input. Okay. Now if we apply same input for both the terminals here both terminals, if we apply same input, what will be the output? What you should get? Basically op amp is an differential amplifier, you know this, right? So being differential amplifier, the job of op amp is it should take both the inputs at inverting terminal and non-inverting terminal, right? Inverting terminal and non-inverting terminal. If both the terminals are getting same input, then the difference should be zero, right? Difference should be 0. See here I have written, hence the difference input is 0. Why is this? Because of inputs are being fed with same input, right? So ideally output should be 0, right? This being differential amplifier, the difference of two inputs, when it is taken, if it is same, the difference will be 0, and 0, even if you amplify 0, you will get still 0, right? So ideally the output should be 0. This is the case when you apply common mode input. Things further, the things get problematic, you see here. Hence the difference input is 0. Ideally the output should be 0. Same thing. See a sentence there. The success of op amp in rejecting common mode input is defined as common mode rejection ratio. Yes, now I will tell you what is CMRR ratio and why, when such common mode input will be applied. Okay. Now in an op amp we have two terminals, right? One is inverting and other one is non-inverting. We may require to give input for inverting sometimes, sometimes we may require to give it for non-inverting. Based on our requirements we give input, right? We sometimes what happens, due to some disturbance, noise disturbance in the signal, internal disturbance in the op amp circuit, there is a chance that one particular signal, which is one particular signal which may be noise or disturbance, may become as an input for both the terminals, may become input for the both the terminals, inverting and non-inverting. In such case it becomes a common mode input, which is undesired unknowingly, or which is undesired, which may be noise or disturbance in a kind of signal, which will be applied for an op amp, same for inverting as well as non-inverting. In such case what happens, your op amp produces a difference of 0. Differential amplifier will produce a 0, but after amplifying it should be 0, right? Output should be 0, but all this is ideally. Practically it doesn't happen. Practically what happens, whenever there is a difference, whenever there is a disturbance or noise in of a signal, that will be applied practically for the input terminals, and this not being 0, this will not be 0 now. Okay, just because of mismatching of the circuit. This difference, which is not 0, will be amplified and gives you an output which is not 0. This should not happen. This should not happen. The thing is, your op amp should not produce any output when it is not desired. When it is not desired. Okay, see a sentence there. The success of op amp in rejecting common mode input is defined as common mode rejection ratio. It means that your op amp should successfully reject such common mode input, because such common mode input is a disturbance in the circuit, is a noise signal which is unwanted. So such unwanted signal should be rejected. Such common mode input should be rejected. How well your op amp can reject such common mode input is defined as common mode rejection ratio. Common mode rejection ratio. So this ratio is given by CMRR as open loop gain divided by common mode gain. Let me zoom it. Ratio of open loop gain by common mode gain. Open loop gain is when a normal operation of your op amp. When a signal is given, you get out. That is open loop gain, denoted by AD. Other one is common mode gain. Common mode gain is again when a common input is applied for both the terminals. Okay, common mode gain is when the common input is applied for the op amp. Yes, we know that this happens during disturbance and noise, right? So ultimately we want our CMRR to be very high. CMRR to be very high. When this can happen? When common mode gain is very less, correct? See that ratio. CMRR is in numerator, right? On the right side, denominator, common mode gain. As the common mode gain decreases, your CMRR increases. Okay, so we expect CMRR to be infinite ideally, and common mode gain to be 0 ideally. Fine. Where ACM is equal to output voltage by input voltage of common mode. Fine. Practical differential amplifiers are normally designed to have very large CMRR. So as I said, CMRR should be very large. Okay, and this is possible only when your common mode gain is very less. Yes, CMRR ratio is usually expressed in decibels. So this is the unit. Uh, while plotting on Semilog sheet, you will understand how the gain is represented on your Semilog sheets. Okay, okay. dB stands for decibels here. Fine. So CMRR equal to 20 log m divided by ACM. M is your open loop gain. M is your open loop gain, and ACM is your closed common mode gain. Ideally, an op amp should have infinite CMRR. So as I mentioned, so higher the value of CMRR, the better is the matching between two input terminals, and smaller is the common mode output voltage. Fine. So this is all about CMRR, common mode rejection ratio. Let us see the next characteristics, next parameter. Yeah, power supply rejection ratio, PSRR. PSRR means power supply rejection ratio. PSRR is a measure of how effective the operational amplifier is in dealing with variations in supply voltage. Hope you remember the circuit diagram of an op amp where the supply voltage is given plus VCC and minus VE. If the variation of 1 volt in VCC or VEE causes output to change by 1 volt, then the supply voltage rejection ratio is 1 volt per division. 1 volt per volt. This is how it is mentioned. Okay. Very important parameter, input impedance. An op amp should have infinite input impedance. Hope you remember while explaining the what is that block diagram of op amp. I still remember I had mentioned there in input stage. In input stage, the op amp should provide infinite input impedance. Infinite input impedance. It means that maximum very large impedance should be provided at the input side. and minimum resistance should be provided at the output side, right? Don't forget this point. So here you can see an op amp should have infinite input impedance. Here this is the equation given. The input impedance of op amp with negative feedback will become Zin equal to 1 plus m beta whole bracket multiplied by Zi. What is Zi? Op amp input impedance without feedback. M, capital M, op amp open loop gain, beta is feedback factor. Now a new term has come here, negative feedback. Negative feedback means you have learned uh, systems which run on open loop system and closed loop system. Okay, open loop system is a system wherein you give input for the system, you get output, wherein the input is not dependent on output. Okay, whereas output is dependent only on the input. Okay, nothing is coming from output to input, no information is coming back from the output side to the input. This is open loop system. Whereas closed loop systems means there is a feedback path, there is a connectivity between output to input. What is being getting output from the system, that information will be fed back as an input for the controller for the system. So this is called as closed loop system. So the path, feedback path which is there, so we call it as feedback path. We call it as feedback path. So this feedback path can be a positive as well as negative. Positive feedback as well as negative. So I will show you the circuit diagram when it comes in your topic, how the negative feedback looks like. Okay. So with the negative feedback op amp connected, this will be the equation Zin equal to 1 plus m beta into Zi. So this is how the equation is given. Ideally op amp should have very high infinite input impedance. The question is why? Why the input impedance of op amp should be very very high? The answer is uh, we don't want any current to enter into op amp terminals. We don't want any current to enter into input terminals of op amp, both inverting as well as non-inverting. When the current doesn't enter into inverting and non-inverting terminals, it's only when the impedance is very very high. Impedance is very very high. If the resistance or the impedance is very very high, it does not allow any current to flow. It resists. Now the question is why to resist? It is because we don't want this rush. We don't want this current to rush into the circuit of op amp, because it will damage your op amp circuit. It will damage your op amp circuit. We don't want current to enter into it. Okay, this is one safety factor. Okay, this is one more tiny factor where when time comes I'll explain you in class. Okay. Similarly, output impedance, another important parameter. Our output impedance should be very very less, very very less, as minimum as possible. It's better if it is zero. Okay. So ideally op amp should have zero output impedance. Output impedance for negative feedback op amp is given as Z out equal to Z naught divided by 1 plus m beta. The output impedance of ideal op amp is 0. Ideally it is 0. Practically it won't be 0. Remember that. This means that regardless of the amount of current drawn by the external load, the output voltage of the op amp remains unaffected, that is, no loading occurs. Here the main question is why the output impedance of the op amp should be less, very very less. The answer is your op amp in the circuit should be capable of driving certain loads. It should be capable of driving certain loads, and it can drive a certain load only when it has a capacity to supply current. It should have a capacity to supply current. This is possible only when the resistance is very very less. The impedance should be very very less. If impedance is very very less, then only current can be drawn out from the output terminal of op amp, so that op amp can drive a particular load. Okay, so this is why an output impedance of the op amp should be very very less. Fine. Very very important parameter, slew rate. Slew rate of an operational amplifier is the maximum rate at which the output voltage can change. Here you can see I'll repeat the statement. Slew rate of an operational amplifier is the maximum rate at which the output voltage can change. In simple words, I can tell you, slew rate means within a short time, within a short span of time, how quickly your output change can happen. How quickly your output change can happen. Okay. Now, here the waveform which you can see here, first waveform, sinusoidal waveform. If this sinusoidal waveform, if it is applied to the op amp circuit, see this circuit is a negative feedback circuit. Can you see? V in is the input terminal, there is output terminal. From output terminal, it is given back for the negative feedback, negative terminal. So this is called as negative feedback circuit. When this sinusoidal input is applied, V in is applied for this circuit, you get this output. Okay, you get this output. The amplitude of V in has been increased at the output. You can see here. Now I'll zoom this output part. You can see here delta T, delta V, and this is your V naught. Delta T is the change in time. Delta T is the change in time. Delta V is the change in voltage. For a particular change in time, that is delta T, how much delta V, how much change in voltage can happen? Okay, how quickly, how fast, how much, how more the voltage can change. Okay, this is your the rate, this is the slew rate, this is the rate, this is the slew rate, this is called a slew rate. This can be given as a ratio of, see here, slew rate is given as change in output voltage divided by change in time, change in output voltage by change in time. Okay, so dV naught by dt volts per microsecond. This is how the unit is the set for slew rate. For 741 op amp, slew rate is around 0.5 volt per microsecond. Okay, 0.5 volt per microsecond. And if it is LM318 op amp, it has 70 volts per microsecond. Okay, so 741 has lesser slew rate, whereas LM318 has more slew rate, means the rate is more. Change in output voltage per microsecond is more for LM318 and it is less for 741. So which one is better? LM318 has 70 volts per microsecond. So right, where is 0.5 volt, where is 70 volts? So the more the change it have, the more the change it gives is the better slew rate. Understood? Next one, input offset voltage. Input offset voltage. Suppose that the two input transistors of a amp are not perfectly matched. Suppose that the two input transistors of op amps are not perfectly matched. Now the question is, which are these two transistors? These transistors are, which are the inbuilt transistors or the part of the op amp. You remember there is one inverting terminal and another one is non-inverting terminals. So this inverting and non-inverting terminals are the uh, base base terminals of two transistors. There are two transistors sitting inside the op amp at the input side, and they are base B1, base B2. You know transistor terminals, emitter base collector, right? So that base B1 and base 2 of transistor 2 are the two input transistors by base. Okay, now both the transistors will be of same configuration, same configuration, but still they will not be perfectly matched, such as one of the VB1 will be having a voltage of 0.7 volts, other one will be having VB2 as 0.6 volts. So there is a mismatch, right? Ideally it should be 0.7, right? So due to mismatch, one is not having 0.7, it is having 0.6. So then the output voltage is calculated as V naught equal to Vi minus Vb in Vb1 plus Vb2, right? So if input is at 0, consider that input is 0, then Vi should be equal to 0, right, at the ground level. Then what you will get as output? V naught equal to V in is 0, so 0 minus 0.7 minus 0.6. So your output voltage would be minus 0.1 volt. This is output offset voltage. This is not desired. If if it were to be perfectly matched, zero point 0.7 zero point 0.7, then your output voltage would have been 0 volts. This was desired. 0 volt should be the your 0 volt should be your output voltage. But since it is not perfectly matched, practically you will get such difference. So this difference in output voltage or any voltage what you get when there is no input applied, mark my words, any voltage you get when there is no input applied, then that kind of voltage is called as output offset voltage. Output offset voltage. So this is unwanted voltage. Yeah, same explanation is written here. If the input transistor of op amps are unmatched, there is a small unwanted voltage at the output for zero input. This unwanted output voltage is called as output offset voltage. Now, important thing is written here, to set output voltage to 0. Now, what you saw there, minus zero point 0.1 volts. How will you make this 0? To make this as 0, there is a solution. To set output voltage to 0, a small opposite voltage of plus zero point 0.1 volt of plus, there it was minus zero point 0.1, right? A plus zero point 0.1 volt is to be applied at the input. This applied voltage at the input to remove the output offset voltage is called as input offset voltage. What happens here? When the input is 0, you are getting minus zero point 0.1 volt as the output voltage, which is unwanted. Now to make this as 0, you have to give input as 0.1 volt, plus zero point 0.1 volts. When you give that plus zero point 0.1 volt as input, your output voltage becomes 0. This is how you can cancel out the unwanted voltage. Now what you gave as input here? Plus zero point 0.1 volts. So that input is called as input offset voltage. That input is called as input offset voltage. Input offset current. Now similar to voltage, we have same story with current here. If the transistors of op amps are not matched perfectly, the current gain HFE of transistors are different, okay, then the base current IB1 and IB2 may also vary. The difference between the base current of input terminals of op amp is known as input offset current. Input offset current, IO. Yes, fine. It's continued here. Input bias current. The input bias current IB is the average current that flow into the inverting and non-inverting input terminals of op amp. Okay. So IB1 and IB2 will be different for both the transistors, right? So if both IB1 and IB2 are same, then only your IB will be 0. But since IB1 and IB2 are will not be 0 practically, so it will have some average value. So normally for 741 op amp, IB is equal to 500 nano amps. Fine. So let me stop it here. For the, it's enough for this session.